Chris Tucker, you're my favorite.
Can I keep the award for a couple of days?
Yeah, we gotta share it. No, we have to share it.
Where I'm staying at in Neverland?
Yeah, anywhere you want to stay.
All right, I'm in cabin number 3.
Okay.
I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
We're listening to Mike right now. Obviously, you know, this is a really sad time right now, but we're celebrating his life. Your thoughts right now on the situation and the timing of this tragedy?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's just somebody that changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Somebody I'll always love and cherish.
The public believed the story because the media pushed it so strongly. For years, headlines portrayed Michael Jackson as strange and dangerous. At first, many Americans believed he was innocent, but tabloids paid for leaked police documents and exaggerated stories. Some former employees even sold false claims for huge amounts of money, while journalists turned serious issues into entertainment. After Michael Jackson died, something changed. His close friends started disappearing from the spotlight. Chris Tucker, once one of Hollywood's biggest stars, stepped away for years. Jim Carrey began speaking out about the darker side of the entertainment industry. This raises a question. What did they see that made them pull back? After 2009, it wasn't just about losing Michael Jackson. It was also about fear. Some believe his friends knew more than they could safely say, and staying silent or stepping away may have felt like their only option.
I met everybody, all his family members before I met him. I met Jermaine, I met Joe Jackson even called me one time in a comedy club.
Because all of them were big fans.
All of them, I don't know, I wanted to meet Michael, and but they always just calling me. I was like, where's Michael? Call me with Michael on the other line.
No one to hear from you.
Yeah, him probably hearing about, and we got on the phone with each other one time.
Yeah.
And he told me he was performing, he was doing his album in New York, and I was doing Rush Hour 2 in Vegas.
Yeah.
And he said, when you're through, just come to New York and we can meet. And you know, it's great. I'm a big fan, and I'm like, I'm a big fan, Michael. You don't understand. He's like, whenever you're done, let's get together. But I spent a lot of money to see Michael.
Really?
Yeah, because I took a private plane to New York. I took a private plane to New York because Michael told me, you know, when you finish Rush Hour, come see it. So I knew he was there. I called him before I went because I was going there for something else.
Yeah.
And I kept leaving a message, Michael, I'm in New York. If you're around, I'd love to see you. And I didn't hear anything. So I got on that same private plane, flew back to Los Angeles. You know, I was done. As soon as I landed, I got a message from Michael Jackson's office, like, Michael, want to meet you tomorrow in New York City. I was like, what?
Don't tell me to go
And
back.
I went right up to the captain's seat, and I said, take me back to New York. They said, well, is this going to cost? I said, I don't care. You got my credit card. Just take me back. Man, I was in an expensive plane, too. I don't know what it was, G4 or whatever. I said, take me back. I didn't tell them what I was doing. It was worth it, man. Every dollar, and that's how we became friends. It was like, I don't know how much it was, but it was crazy. It flew me all the way back. The guy said, cool. The pilots went right back up in the air. They had enough time they could fly some more. So that's how I met Mike.
Was he really as giving as everybody says he was?
Oh yeah, he was because he was like, anytime that I wanted to go to Neverland, like, you know, I was just calling Michael, I want to come up to Neverland. He said, of course, sure, come on up. I'm not there, I'm in Russia, but go on up. The chefs are still there and everybody's there. Go. So he was nice. I mean, he was a joker. He liked to joke around, and so he was fun. A lot of fun to be around.
Chris Tucker was very close to Michael Jackson. Their friendship wasn't just normal Hollywood networking. It was personal and strong. There are stories that Chris Tucker once turned his private jet around during a trip from Los Angeles back to New York just because Michael Jackson called him. That shows how important Michael was to him. Michael also personally reached out to Tucker after the Rush Hour success. They spent time together, traveled together, and had private conversations away from the public at one point in Las Vegas. Tucker even stayed close to Michael in public places to help manage the crowd. Some fans didn't even realize who he was and thought he was part of Michael's security team. Overall, the bond was more like close friends or brothers than just celebrities who knew each other.
Perform with Chris Tucker and Usher on Rock My World was a lot of fun. It was kind of spontaneous. I'm on stage singing and suddenly Usher comes up dancing, and it was surprising and a lot of fun. I really think he's a wonderful performer, Usher. And Chris Tucker, who I consider to be one of the funniest men alive, was wonderful to work with. And I just really think he's a wonderful human being. He's a friend of mine now. He's a great guy.
Michael Jackson had a close and playful friendship with Chris Tucker. One of their inside jokes was that Michael would call him Christmas instead of Chris, which showed how relaxed and personal their bond was. This wasn't just a normal Hollywood friendship. They spent real time together, joked privately, and supported each other outside of public life. Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson shared a connection built on trust and familiarity, not just work or fame.
I'm just really picky. A lot of movies came my way, and a lot of them I just wasn't interested in. I was hoping something would come and be out of the box from what I've normally done, but I didn't find it. You'll be around longer if you don't do any and everything for money. Doing cool little roles is more important than starring in a big movie that's just not that good. Oh, they all think Chris is crazy. He won't jump at an open checkbook. And people out here get frustrated. Chris is picky. They get impatient when they can't get him in their lousy scripts. But Chris is not just another actor for hire. He wants to have a long career. 6 years passed between Rush Hour 2 and 3, and Chris didn't do any movies in between. After Rush Hour 3, it wasn't another 5 years before Chris was seen on movie screens again, which was Silver Linings Playbook in 2012.
But what made both of them dangerous in Hollywood terms was simple. They couldn't be controlled with money. Chris Tucker turned down or walked away from huge paychecks at different points in his career. Instead of chasing constant blockbuster deals, he chose projects he actually cared about. That confused studio executives, because most people in Hollywood follow the money.at the same time. Michael Jackson was in a major fight with Sony over the ownership of his music catalog, which was worth billions. He wanted control over his own work, not just to be paid for it.so in different ways. Both men were seen as people who didn't play the game the industry expected.
I know Rush Hour was huge. Money Talks was huge. The money starts rolling in, and then, if I recall, you became the $30 million man, like $30 million a movie. What was the order of how things blew up for you?
It was Fridays, Money Talk, then Rush Hour, and then in the first one I was making $20 million, and then the second one, Rush Hour, I was making $25 billion. Yeah, I was like one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid at that time. Because I was so young and crazy. I was like, if the first Rush Hour made over $100 million, I said, Tom Cruise movie's making $100 million, mine's making $100. He's getting $20 million. I need to get $20 million. And man, they paid me. They had to pay me because the movie was making money. They wanted to do another one. So
ask for it, Chris. Get that bag. You know.
That's right. You gotta ask for it.
Chris Tucker was at one point among the highest paid actors in Hollywood, even owning tens of millions per film during his peak. He and Michael Jackson shared a close friendship, built on trust, humor, and mutual respect. Michael often encouraged people he believed in, telling them to aim higher and push their careers forward. Their bond wasn't just professional. It felt personal and loyal. Both men, in different ways, were known for making choices that didn't always follow Hollywood expectations. That's what made their friendship stand out. It wasn't based on business deals, but on genuine connection. After Michael Jackson's death in 2009, many of his friends and peers were deeply affected, including Tucker. It marked the end of an era for those who were close to him.
You can imagine now my understanding of the facts surrounding the MJ case, that he went to war with Sony, one of these major companies, and he was winning that war. And then suddenly the world was told that Michael Jackson is a or somebody is an anti-Semite. Michael Jackson, I think, was called all of those things. Wacko Jacko, they gave him a name.
How do you feel when they call you
Wacko Jacko? It's not nice. I'm not a wacko.
The exact same tactics that they tried to use on me. Someone pressed a button, and there was a full court press effort to cancel Candace Owens by trying to convince the people that she just went crazy and anti-Semitic. Thank goodness I'm not from Hollywood. They would have institutionalized me and said that it was for my good. There are a ton of people in Hollywood who, when they have tried to speak out about things that are happening to them, have received this same treatment. I believe this is what happened to Britney Spears.
This is a claim that goes beyond what is supported by evidence. Candace Owens has made controversial public statements about many cultural topics, including conspiracy-style interpretations of high-profile cases. However, her opinions are not verified fact. There is no credible evidence that Michael Jackson was labeled a predator because he was winning a battle with Sony or threatening music catalog control. His legal and financial disputes with Sony Music Entertainment were business disagreements over ownership and contracts, which have been publicly documented, but they are not linked by evidence to criminal accusations being strategically created. Michael Jackson did face multiple allegations during his lifetime, which were handled through legal investigations and courts. Those matters are separate from his contract disputes in the music industry, but it's fine to discuss industry pressure, contracts, and power struggles in entertainment. But connecting that to coordinated character elimination strategies or intentional framing isn't supported by court records, investigations, or reliable reporting.
In 1993, the very first allegation came against him, made from a screenwriter in the industry. He was both a screenwriter and a dentist named Dr. Evan Chandler. It was based in Los Angeles, and his accusation was that Jackson had his 13-year-old son, Jordan. Horrific. Now, how this came about was that Jordan told his psychiatrist that Jackson had him, and then the LAPD began a criminal investigation. But the investigation actually found no physical evidence against Jackson, and it was closed. The case was closed less than 1 year later. Now, that should have stopped the media from reporting on it. Michael Jackson wasn't guilty, but we know the media has never let facts get in the way of them having a good time. They broke the allegations worldwide, which led Michael Jackson to cancel the second leg of his Dangerous World Tour in August of that same year. And he cited health issues, health problems that were stemming from the stress of the entire scandal. And do you want to know what actually added to the stress? This is actually horrific. His sister, LaToya Jackson, came right out and she said, yup, Michael Jackson is a But then something weird happened. She didn't provide any evidence. She didn't even attach that statement to a story. And when people prodded her about that, why did you say your brother is a she admitted that it was her husband who had forced her to make that statement.
This part relates to a real legal controversy from 1993, but it's important to describe it carefully and factually that in 1993, Michael Jackson faced serious allegations from Jordan Chandler and his father, Evan Chandler, a dentist and aspiring screenwriter. The case quickly became a major media story and also a legal dispute. During the investigation and related civil proceedings, there were claims and recordings involving Evan Chandler that were later reported in the media, suggesting he was demanding money and threatening to damage Michael Jackson's reputation. However, these events were part of a highly contested and complex legal situation. Not a simple or fully agreed-upon narrative, the case was ultimately settled in 1994 through a confidential agreement, with no criminal conviction and no admission of guilt from either side. Because this case has been widely discussed for decades, it often gets interpreted in very different ways. But the verified facts remain tied to allegations, legal negotiations, and settlement rather than any confirmed plan or proven conspiracy.
His father, Dr. Evan Chandler, did in fact drug his child into making the allegation about Michael Jackson. I'm going to read you directly from an article about what Dr. Evan Chandler did. It reads, on August 2nd, 1993, dentist Dr. Evan Chandler was extracting a tooth from his own son, Jordan, when he did something unusual. Under the supervision of an attending anesthesiologist, Dr. Chandler injected his son with a dose of sodium amytal, a barbiturate. Although in pop culture it has sometimes incorrectly been called a truth serum. It is not normal to use sodium amytal to pull a tooth. In fact, it is a psychological drug with sedative and hypnotic effects. Oh, totally normal situation to drug your child, to sedate him with a drug that produces hypnotic effects, and then to ask him, did Michael Jackson you, to which your drugged and sedated son says yes. That is the actual story about how this allegation came about. And once his son said yes and he recorded that, Evan Chandler then demanded $20 million privately from Michael Jackson. He didn't go to the cops, he went to a lawyer. He said, I won't make this public if you give me $20 million. If you don't give me $20 million, I'm gonna make it public. And Michael Jackson told him to kick rocks, allegedly. And then he had his lawyer go back and say, okay, what about if it's just $1 million? And by the way, at this point, it says that his lawyer was like, hey, man, but like, you know, if your son was maybe go to the cops, right? Like, don't just have me negotiating with the king of pop. Like, you should go to the cops. And he's like, you just keep negotiating. Unbelievably. And during this time, he took his son to a psychiatrist. We love psychiatrists on this show. And he made his son describe graphic details of what Jackson had done to him, but didn't do to any of the other boys who were also present for the sleepovers. You know, Jordan's mother at this point, June Schwartz, she and her new husband thought, you know, I think maybe he could be telling some lies. My ex-husband, maybe he's not that honest of a person. And so Jordan's stepdad, a man named Dave Schwartz, decided to confront Dr. Evan Chandler. And not just to confront him, but to record him speaking about what he was going to do to Michael Jackson and co. Take a listen to Dr. Evan Chandler, the dentist, in his own words.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief, and I'm not believe that he will not believe what's going to happen. And beyond worst nightmare, that's one more record.
This attorney I found, I mean, I interviewed several, and I picked the nastiest son of a I could find. Once I make that phone call, this guy is just going to destroy everybody in sight.
This is not accurate, and it mixes real events with incorrect medical claims that in the 1993 case involving Michael Jackson. There were serious allegations made by Jordan Chandler and his father, Evan Chandler. However, the specific claim that Jordan was knocked out with a drug called sodium amytal to create false memories is not supported by credible evidence in court records or medical findings related to the case. Truth serum ideas like sodium amytal producing reliable confessions are widely regarded in modern medicine as unreliable. But importantly, there is no verified documentation that it was used on Jordan Chandler in the way described here, nor that his statements were medically induced confessions. What is documented is that the case involved civil allegations and a police investigation, media attention, and intense public pressure. A confidential settlement in 1994 with no criminal conviction. The case remains controversial in public discussion, but separating verified facts from speculation is important, especially when medical procedures and intent are being described, because those parts in your version are not supported by reliable evidence.
Evan Chandler, person who started this initial allegation, he's no longer with us because he was he committed in November of 2009, just 5 months after Michael Jackson was overdosed. Yeah, Evan Chandler shot himself in the head. There were absolutely no witnesses, there was no note, and he was found by his building concierge. That's just a fun little update for you. But back to Michael Jackson, because even though, like I said, that never went through, they dropped this case in less than a year, the media kind of saw that there was this squeeze on Michael Jackson, but then they let it go. There were no more allegations against Michael Jackson until almost 10 years later, when suddenly there was an explosion of allegations against Michael Jackson. And I want you to remember that year, 2003, is when it began. It began when a boy named Gavin Arvizo accused Michael Jackson of child, saying that he was under 14 at the time of the alleged crime. The singer was then charged because of this allegation with 7 counts of child sexual abuse and 2 counts of administering an intoxicating agent. What does the public actually remember from that time? What do you remember from that time? Well, we remember that Michael Jackson was wacko jacko, that he was crazy, that he was addicted to drugs, whatever his doctor was injecting him with. Here are just some of the headlines: wacko jacko, backo jacko, raid, wacko jacko, jacko on the attacko. I mean, this is like seared into my memory. I'm sure it's seared into your memory as well. This is what I remember. And I also remember that he was anti-Semitic. Yeah, there were headlines calling him an anti-Semite, saying that he hated Jews. And by the way, they had evidence because, so weird, but his doctor who overdosed him also recorded Michael Jackson while he was also clearly sounding like he was high on drugs. Maybe his doctor gave him drugs and then spoke to him. And somehow this recording this conversation between him and the doctor made its way out into the public.
The timeline says that Michael Jackson died in 2009. A few months later, Evan Chandler died. After that, new accusers appeared with similar stories about coaches. It suggests a pattern where one case ends and then new allegations come up when a main person is no longer able to respond.
For me, this moment transcends Michael Jackson. It is much bigger than any one person.
Oprah Winfrey opened up about her decision to speak to Michael Jackson's accusers for her After Neverland special when she stopped by The Daily Show on Wednesday night. Last month, Winfrey made headlines when she sat down with Michael Jackson accusers for Oprah Winfrey Presents After Neverland, which aired on HBO following the explosive documentary about the singer titled Leaving Neverland.
If they ever found out what we were doing, he and I would go to jail.
Winfrey said of her decision to do the special, "I haven't had that much hateration since I did the puppy episode with Ellen DeGeneres, aka the episode in which DeGeneres came out as gay." The talk show host continued, "But when I saw that documentary, I realized that a lot of people are going to be triggered by watching it, and a lot of people will not understand what the pattern is." Winfrey explained, "People call it but there is a big seducing that goes on, and that was important enough for me to take the hateration for."
When some people think Oprah Winfrey, they think Harvey Weinstein because they have been linked together so often. First off, Oprah and Harvey have been friends for over 2 decades. A lot of people use the argument that she didn't know about what he was doing, but that's impossible because everyone's known about Harvey Weinstein's reputation ever since the 90s. If you guys don't know who Harvey Weinstein is, he is a major film producer who is pretty much the face of the Me Too movement because he was called out by a bunch of different actresses who he violated. When he was getting canceled and exposed for everything that he has done, Oprah allegedly called him and offered her support. Even though Oprah's team denies this, I believe it because Oprah has been close with Harvey and she has showed him some sympathy over time. Even though he is a disgusting man and he deserves to rot in jail. But I don't understand why Oprah wants to be best friends with someone like Harvey Weinstein. They had a very warm friendship, and the photos show. Some people actually believe that Oprah convinced some actresses to hook up with Harvey Weinstein. And actually, Rose McGowan tweeted out, "I'm glad more people are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't."
It suggests that Oprah Winfrey was closely connected to Harvey Weinstein and protected him for years, and that she later gave attention to Michael Jackson's accusers in Leaving Neverland, which the text says were false stories made for money. IT also argues that media coverage and accusations were used in a coordinated way to damage certain high-profile figures, and even implies that some deaths were part of a larger plan. Finally, it portrays Michael Jackson as a powerful figure who threatened parts of the entertainment industry financially, and says his final tour was meant as a warning or message rather than just a comeback.
These will be my final show performances in London. This will be it. This is it. And when I say this is it, it really means this is it. Because,
Cat Williams believes that most people miss the meaning behind Michael Jackson's final tour name, that he says that Michael Jackson called it This Is It for a reason. According to this view, it wasn't just a comeback or a farewell tour. Instead, it's interpreted as a final statement or message, suggesting it was his last opportunity to warn people about what was happening around him.
The fact of the matter is, we watched this get right in front of our own face. And the knew it was finna happen. He told us, and we didn't know. Named his last tour, This Is It. White people, let me just tell you a little secret, if I could. Have never said this is it in a celebratory fashion. Let me just say, white people do it all the time. This is it. Not every time we say it like this. You know what? This is it. And they straight up killed that. Killed him and gave us the most story we ever heard our entire life. First they told us this was a drug addict. Then we find out this drug was sleep. You telling me this got high and went to sleep? Yeah, that's no drug addict. Something's afoul here.
Michael Jackson wasn't just planning a retirement. Some people believe he saw This Is It as something bigger than a normal tour. The shows were massive, 50 sold-out dates at London's The O2 Arena with global attention. Because of that, some interpret it as him wanting full control over his message and how he would be remembered. Questions often come up. Why choose London? Why push for creative control? And why take on such a huge project at that stage of his life? There were also reports from people involved in the tour that he was under serious pressure during rehearsals. Instead of slowing things down, the schedule stayed intense, and his personal doctor, Conrad Murray, was later found responsible for his death after everything happened. Some fans and commentators, like Cat Williams, interpreted the tour's name, "This Is It," as symbolic, almost like a final statement rather than just a concert series. Others connected this to broader concerns about the entertainment industry and how powerful figures are treated, though those ideas remain debated and not proven. Names like Chris Tucker and Jim Carrey sometimes come up in these discussions, but there isn't clear evidence supporting claims that they were targeted.
Even though we're on a cruise, is watching all the newses and reading all the newspapers, and she said, "Something's happened to Michael. I don't think it's good." And it scared me because in 1998, I think that was the year, I was in another hotel room. Gail was in, and Gail called and said, "Something's happened to Princess Diana. I don't think it's good." So when I heard that, immediately I thought, oh my God, could it be? And so we were all stunned. And
did you ever consider going to either the memorial service or the funeral?
No, I did not consider going to the memorial service or the funeral because I did not consider myself to be a friend of his. And I didn't want to be one of those people showing up just because it's Michael Jackson. So no, I didn't, because I was not a friend. I was someone who had interviewed him and at the time really had a lot of compassion for him. And
those feelings about him changed over the years?
The feelings didn't change. In terms of my sense of compassion for him, what I felt was a sense of sadness. I never knew, what the truth was.
The argument claims that Oprah Winfrey's actions raised questions for some people. They point out that when Michael Jackson died, she was reportedly traveling with Gayle King. Later on, she spoke publicly in ways that were critical of Michael, even though she had previously shown support for him. Because of that shift, some interpret her behavior as inconsistent and part of a larger narrative around his legacy.
Somebody once said my problem was I didn't understand the social contract. Yeah, I now understand what that means.
Yeah.
Do you understand it?
The social contract?
Yeah.
I think I do.
Yeah. What is it for you?
The social contract. You can't get mad.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get mad. You can't let it get you, because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken that you are going to be over at some point by people who you may have done something nice for.
Mm.
And it may happen that by circumstance, or even very purposefully, that you someone over. But that shouldn't get in the way of you being able to sit down and have fun with them. Am I on the right track? You can't build a resentment about it. You have to still try and love those people.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they're thinking.
Because it ain't personal.
No, it's not personal. They don't really mean to hurt you.
No.
Not really. I don't quite understand. Well, I mean, there's a lot of motivations for why it happens. Yes, many.
I mean, money will make you do stuff as well, won't it? I mean,
Yes.
one, them, us,
Yes.
Yeah,
well, whoever.
If there's many millions riding on a decision, it's hard to be philosophical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very hard. Very hard to be, you you have to choose what level of integrity you're coming in at. And
Okay.
and I've often felt it. I've sat there and I have felt the knife slipped firmly in between my shoulder blades and tried to have it shoved through the other side through my heart. And I've actually felt the whole thing and I've gone, ah! Wait till next week, or I'll think, and you'll resent it for a little while, then you have to let it go. Otherwise, you'll eat yourself alive.
Mel Gibson has talked about an unspoken reality in Hollywood, that people may treat you unfairly, but reacting openly can come with consequences. The idea is that some believe there's pressure to accept difficult situations as part of the business, rather than challenge them. That's why, in some interviews, Chris Tucker appears careful with his words when discussing the industry. Instead of making direct accusations, he often gives measured, cautious responses.
Answer this too, and you can go as far or not far on this as you want to. And I'm going to ask it differently. You know how viral that Cat Williams interview went. He mentions you in it. I'm not asking you to necessarily to respond directly to that. But I look at that interview and I look at DL and Monique going back at it. I look at this Wendy Williams documentary. It just seems like it's a time right now where a lot of black folks are beefing and a lot of nasty laundry in the street. And I'm just wondering what you make of that. And does is this tour going to get into any of that? Or are you trying to stay above the fray?
Oh, I talk about everything in my show, but it's unfortunate that this is that's going on in the comedy scene. Because when I was coming up, none of that would have never happened. It's an honor amongst comedians, and we're like magicians, man. We don't tell our tricks, and we don't put our dirty laundry out there. So I hope that stopped. And we go on stage, we talk about stuff that happens in our life. We have the privilege to do that, but not in, we're in the comedy business, making people laugh and to work on our art, and not to feud and stuff like that. So, I just hope that stopped and we get back to being funny.
Some people point to how Chris Tucker handles tough questions as an example of careful survival in Hollywood. When Cat Williams made accusations about Epstein, Tucker didn't respond directly. Instead, he used humor and gave broad answers, avoiding specifics. Tucker has said he met Jeffrey Epstein during a humanitarian trip to Africa that included Bill Clinton, and he has denied visiting Epstein's island. Supporters say that distinction is important. One is a public trip, the other would be something far more serious. Because of this, some interpret Tucker's approach as being cautious, acknowledging certain facts while avoiding deeper or more controversial claims. More broadly, this feeds into a wider belief that people in the entertainment industry often speak carefully to protect themselves and their careers. However, ideas about controlled opposition, blackmail systems, or threats for speaking out remain debated and are not proven. The comparison some make is that while Tucker stays measured, Jim Carrey has at times been more open or unconventional in how he speaks publicly, which has drawn attention and debate.
I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
Jim Carrey weighing in on Will Smith's Oscar controversy during a new interview with Gayle King for CBS Morning.
They asked Chris, do you want to file charges? And Chris apparently said no, he did not.
He doesn't want the hassle. I'd announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous.
Jim Carrey spoke out after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards. Carrey said he was shocked, not just by the incident, but by the reaction in the room. When Smith later received a standing ovation, Carrey criticized it, saying it showed a lack of strong principles in Hollywood. Some people interpret that moment as an example of how the industry handles power and influence. Others simply see it as a complicated, emotional situation that played out in real time.
Is that a gang sign? Have you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Oh.
Jim Carrey had a controversial moment on Jimmy Kimmel Live, where he mocked secret societies and said he was tired of secrets and lies. During that appearance, he joked about how entertainment and media can sometimes distract people from serious issues. Some viewers saw it as just comedy, while others thought he was hinting at deeper concerns about the industry. The host, Jimmy Kimmel, laughed it off and the moment became widely discussed because people interpreted it in different ways. Some believe Carrey used humor to say things indirectly, sharing opinions while protecting himself by framing it as a joke. Others simply see it as part of his usual unpredictable and satirical style. Comparisons are often made between how different celebrities handle pressure in Hollywood. For example, Chris Tucker tends to stay quiet and avoid controversy, while Carrey has sometimes been more outspoken. However, broader claims about coordinated elimination, government control, or systematic targeting of celebrities are not proven and remain speculative. In reality, changes in celebrities' careers or public presence can happen for many reasons: personal choices, industry shifts, or evolving public interest, not necessarily hidden agendas.